Okay, in the box you will receive 4-player match with 2 action tokens each, and they have a little design on it that correspond with the back of their board or also underneath the action spaces. Okay, there are 28 plot tiles. Okay, there are pink, green, and yellow. And then the start tile, the pond tile. You also get 36 green bamboo sections, 30 yellow bamboo sections, and 24 pink bamboo sections. You get 20 irrigation channel pieces, 3 sets of cards, the panda card, the plot tile cards, and the gardener cards, front and back on each, and also the emperor card, which will be used at the end of the game. You get 3 upgrade tiles of each: the fertilization, the enclosure, and the watershed. You also get a panda, a gardener, and a set of instructions. Set up. Okay, to set up Takenoko, you place the starting tile, the pond tile, in the center of the play area, and then place the panda and the gardener on top. Next, you take and shuffle the remaining plot tiles and place them within easy reach of everybody. Then you take the objective cards and place them within easy reach of everybody near the plot tiles, with the exception of the Emperor card. You will then take that card and remove it from the game temporarily until the end of the game. That will be awarded to the person who triggers the end round. Next, each player will receive their playing mat along with their action markers, 2 of each, and each player will also receive 1 card of each type, which will be kept secret to that player only. Nobody else sees it. Okay. Now, you then want to place the irrigation channels, the piles of the 3 bamboo colors, the 9 upgrade tokens, and the weather die within easy reach of everybody. And that's pretty much the setup. Now we'll get on to gameplay. In Takenoko, we are the gardener who is charged by his emperor to care for a panda that the emperor has received through a commerce agreement with a foreign dignitary. Okay, the objective of Takenoko is for each player to score points through their objective cards, which during setup they receive 1 of each: the panda, the gardener, and a plot objective card. And throughout the game we will take different actions listed on the player board here to accomplish these objectives. And each objective card has a point value. So at the end of the game, whoever has the highest amount of points wins the game. You can achieve the completion of an objective card on an action that you do or another player does. For instance, say Jen placed this tile down on her last action of her last turn. The tile is irrigated because the watershed symbol, and these 2 are also irrigated, which we'll get into in a little bit. But it comes to my turn, and I can see that my plot objective card is fulfilled because of the tile gently down. So I would receive 4 points and lay that objective card down in front of me face up for everybody to see. The final round is triggered when one player completes a certain amount of objective cards. In a 2-player game, it is 9 objective cards. In a 3-player game, it is 8 objective cards. And in a 4-player game, it is 7 objective cards. The person who triggers the end round will receive the Emperor card, receiving 2 extra points. And if they have any actions left in their turn, they may do that to try and accrue more points through more objective cards. The game will then continue for the other players for one more turn, so they can try and complete any objective cards they can. After that, the objective cards will be tallied, and whoever has the highest score will win the game. During your turn, you can choose 2 of 5 actions, but you can only do one type of action once, unless you roll the wind weather effect, which will allow you to do the same action twice. We'll get to that in a few minutes. During a player's turn, they will be able to do 2 of 5 actions listed here. They can either draw and place plot tiles, take an irrigation channel, move the gardener, move the panda, or take an objective card. So let's take a closer look at the plot action. To do this, you would simply put your action marker on that action. You will draw the top 3 tiles and place one of the tiles. And now, in my rule set, it says the player draws 3 plots, chooses one, and places the other 2 back on top of the deck face down in the order of his choice. Now, I've seen on the Board Game Geek fact page that it says you place them under the pile in the order you wish to do. Me and Jen have always placed them back on top. It's just the way we went off the rule set. I'll let you decide which way you prefer to do it. Okay, so back to the plots. Now, tile placement has a few rules. Okay. You can place tiles around the center pond tile any way you wish to. Okay. So you could place one up here or down here on the sides. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now, once that first ring of tiles around the pond tile is completed, you may not place a plot tile on the end of another plot tile like so. They must be placed in between 2 other plot tiles, okay, like this. So I could place one there, but I could not place one, say, here or here. Okay, but I could place one here or here. Now, what happens when you place a plot tile and it is irrigated like this? You will immediately place a starting piece of bamboo on that tile. Okay, so like so. If it is irrigated at all, even with the watershed symbol, you will put a starting piece of bamboo on it. Now this tile here does not have a watershed symbol or an irrigation channel to it, so it is not considered irrigated. You cannot place any bamboo sections on it until that is irrigated. Let's move on to our second action here. Irrigation channels. You may, for one action, take an irrigation channel and place it on your board. Okay. Now, at any time during the game, you can take that irrigation channel and place it on the board for free. But again, you must place it between the two tiles. Okay, so let's go back to this tile that is not irrigated. Say it's Jen's turn. For her first action, she takes an irrigation channel, like so. Now she wants to place them, and she can do this as long as she places them legally. They must lead to the center tile, the pond tile, and they must go on the face between two tiles. So now this tile here is irrigated due to these two irrigation channels, and now she can place a starter section of bamboo. Now you cannot place a tile or an irrigation channel on the face of a tile where there is not a second tile to meet it. Okay, so this would be illegal. But you can branch off. Say I wanted to go this way with an irrigation tile instead. That is acceptable. Okay, our next movement is the gardener. Now we can move the gardener in any direction we want. We could go up here, we could go over here, over here, over here. We could even go all the way down here or down here, as long as it is in a straight line. So I could not say move them here and then here. It must be in a straight line. Now when the gardener stops on a spot, he will add one more section of bamboo to the tile he stops on. Okay, and he will also add one bamboo section to every adjacent tile that is the same color. So the gardener stops here, this tile gets a bamboo section, and this tile gets a bamboo section. This pink one does not because it's a different color. These two green ones do though. Okay, now one thing I forgot to mention about the gardener is whenever the gardener irrigates a tile, whenever a gardener farms a tile, let's say, the maximum height that a bamboo pole can grow is 4. So this farmer came down here. The gardener comes to this tile here. This tile here is maxed out at 4 sections of bamboo high, but the one next to it can receive a 4th section. 4 is the maximum height. Okay, our next action is the panda. So the panda's movement is the same as the gardener. He can move in any direction he wants as long as it's in a straight line. So he's going to move all the way down here with the gardener. Now what happens is he will then eat one piece of bamboo and we will place it in his tummy here on the player board. The reason for this is there are certain objective cards that require this a section or several sections of bamboo to be eaten by the panda, and we'll get to them in a second. Okay, now any tile with this enclosure symbol on it, or with the enclosure improvement marker on it, the panda cannot eat any bamboo off of that tile. So, say on his next turn he wanted to move here, he can move there and stop, but he cannot eat the bamboo. Our final action is to draw objective cards. There are 3 different types of objective cards: the plot cards, the panda cards, okay, and the gardener cards. Okay, so the plot cards are fairly simple. You will get different configurations of plots, and you'll be awarded points for them when that configure of plots is met, as long as the plots are irrigated. If the plots are not irrigated, you cannot complete the objective for that plot card. Okay, and then there's different ones, like this is all green, this is all pink, and then there's a combination of green and pink and yellow and green and etc. Let's see if I can find one here. Okay, yeah, see, and then you have like different combinations of colors. A note: there are more green tiles than there are yellow, and there are more yellow than there are pink. Just keep that in mind for your strategy. Okay, the next objective card is the gardener. Now, there are several types of gardener cards. Okay, let's find one with the watershed. There we go. Alright. If you can see here, we have the watershed symbol on this. In order for this objective card to be completed, there must be 4 yellow bamboo sections on a yellow tile with a watershed symbol or improvement marker on it. And for that, the player would receive 5 points. For this one, they must have 4 yellow bamboo sections on a tile without any improvement symbols or markers on it. Okay, the third type is this one here, where they must have 4 sections of bamboo on a tile with the enclosure symbol or improvement marker on it. And the final one is 4 sections of bamboo on a fertilized tile or a tile with a fertilized marker on it. Now, okay. And there are also cards like this where you have to have multiple tiles with, like, for instance, this one has 3 tiles with 3 bamboo sections grown in yellow. Now, the final objective card is the panda. Okay, the panda cards are pretty straightforward. The panda must eat 2 yellow ones and will receive 4 points, 2 green ones will receive 3 points, or 1 of each, and he'll receive 1 section of bamboo for each color and he'll receive 6 points. There's different combinations of this, different colors, different point values, but it's pretty much the same. So what that means is we already have a green section of bamboo from the panda, so his next move would go here and he would eat this one and it would go into his stomach, and then 2 turns later he would go here, then here, and he'd eat this yellow one. Now, to fulfill the objective, we would place the card face up take these 3 sections of bamboo here, and they would go back to the stockpile. Okay. During the first round, the weather die is not in play. From the second round on, players will roll the die and perform the action that the die was rolled, and then take their 2 actions. So the first weather effect would be the sun, and the sun gives you 1 extra action. Okay, so the sun gives you 1 extra action. Next, we have the rain weather effect, which means you can choose any tile on the board you wish, as long as it's irrigated, and you can place a section of bamboo there for free. Next is the wind, and that means you can take 1 action twice. So you can choose to do the plot action. You could choose to draw 3 plot cards, place 1, put the other 2 back, and then you can choose to do that again and draw 3 more, and then choose 1 and place it. Okay. The next action is lightning. Lightning scares the panda, so when that is rolled, the panda is immediately moved to another tile, and he can then eat a section of bamboo off of that tile, if there is one there. The fifth action is cloud. Okay, so with that, you are allowed to choose 1 of the 3 improvement tiles. You can choose the enclosure, which prevents the panda from eating bamboo on any tile that is placed on. There is the watershed, which will irrigate a tile that is placed on. And there is the fertilization markers. The fertilization symbol, or the improvement token for the fertilization, will allow you to grow 2 sections of bamboo on that tile if it is irrigated instead of 1. So right off the bat, this tile is irrigated. We place 2 sections of bamboo on it. Okay, the next turn, the gardener comes down and he farms it. Then 2 more sections of bamboo would be added to that tile, and 1 to each adjacent tile of the color. Okay, when you choose your improvement token, you would place it here on your player board. Now, at any time during your turn, you can then take it and place it on any tile you wish for a free action, with the exception of any other tile that has an improvement symbol on it. So you cannot have 2 tiles, you cannot have a tile with 2 symbols on the same tile, even if it's 2 separate ones. There's only allowed to be 1 symbol on each tile. Okay. The final weather effect is the question mark, which will allow you to choose any of the other 5 weather effects you choose. So You can roll, if you roll the question mark, you can choose to play the sun action and then take a third action on your turn. Or you could choose the rain and grow a piece of bamboo on the board.